more. I don't even know what Uvu is, actually.
I'm not even gonna say that I do, but
You're not gonna say you have a Tinder account?
how you know that?
I found you. Best believe I swiped left. Real quick, didn't even hesitate. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Dylan.
And Steven.
And your boy, Steven. We ain't been back in a long time, but we're back. It's been a minute. Where have you been, Steven?
Home.
You been home? All this time I've been looking for you in Malaysia, and you've been at home?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right
I've just been in an Argentinian prison. That's all right that you didn't pen pal me. The only guy I had to talk to was John Cena in the cell next to me.
What happened? Rafe got you out?
Don't even ask how I got out of there. Let's just say it involves digging a network with mostly spoons and then hanging a poster up. Oh wait, that's
already happened.
That's the plot from Shawshank Redemption. I need to steal from a different movie.
Oh my god.
Alright, man, let's waste no time getting into this. Speaking of movies, we're talking about the biggest movies that have come out so far this summer. One of them's on your shirt right now, Batman vs. Superman. And it's Nemesis Civil War. Both movies about heroes turning against each other, as apparently that's the thread right now.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just put Batman vs. Superman to death as soon as we got it. What's your thoughts, man?
Oh man, I know that we did this.
So we did do a preview video, didn't we?
We did our first podcast.
Oh my god, our first podcast, and now our first return to podcast. Apparently, we just can't stop beating a dead horse right now.
Next thing you know, we're not going to return until JLA comes out.
If Justice League comes out, we'll do another podcast.
Yeah.
Every blue moon.
Batman vs. Superman. Oh, man. Where can I even start? Just as the movie, just as Zack Snyder, I think
Start at that part when he just says, Martha!
Yeah. I think Zack Snyder had the same point of view that I have right now of the movie. Like, where do I even start? And that's how the movie came out. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but it could have been a lot better if he would just focus on one.
My whole thing is, how did he, as a director, even get picked in to begin with? Because he is such hit and miss with stuff that some things he's done are really good, and there's a lot of stuff that's visual. I don't know, like, how he originally even got selected to do Man of Steel, and then considering how, like, poorly received Man of Steel was, why at that point they were just like, take the keys to the Ferrari and just, like, go on a joyride and make, like, 4 more films. And then, of course, when this came out now, and it really didn't do that well, either money or ratings, neither, why at that point they were, I guess, were just too deep into it that they were like, well, we can't tell them to leave now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really go with it money-wise, because the movie did make money. It was actually kind of like a review that somebody was doing, and I got that information from comicbook.com that it said you can't call it a bad movie if the movie already made $900 million.
Yeah.
The movie made money. The movie's it's
at some
a good
point,
movie.
It crossed the threshold where it was like the money was there.
Yeah.
To the point where they were like, okay, the next one's good. It didn't totally flop. It didn't John Carter.
Yeah, the movie was good. The movie was okay. The thing is that they Zack Snyder did not focus on one storyline. Instead, he just tried to grab everything that was good in a Batman story and try to implement it in just one. And the thing that you said about him being hit or miss, yes, you're absolutely right. He is a hit or miss director, and I don't think that Man of Steel made crazy money. It wasn't a perfect movie for Warner Brothers to say, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money to start up what Marvel did. Same thing Marvel did, you're doing it with DC. And it was just a crazy approach that they decided to do.
Well, in my opinion, if I was just going to put it to rest, I'll say what I said to everybody, which was just, they should have done a solo Batman first. Yeah. Been successful with Ben. Like, I thought Ben was the best part of the film. And then once everybody was like, hey, that was pretty solid. Like, it's nice to see Batman back and in such a new form and, old and angry. Then go ahead and be like, hey, they both exist in the same thing, drop some Easter eggs, and then have the two of them collide, and then continue to unite the seven and whatever it is that they said they were going to do. And I think that would have been the smarter move, but it would have been more time and more patience, and they had delayed Batman vs Superman enough as it was, and it had to come out at some point, no matter how it was.
And not only that, the movie, like you said, probably the best part of the whole entire movie was Batman.
Yes.
It's funny how we get to this opinion after all the crap that was said about Ben Affleck being Batman, and then he ends up being the best part of the whole entire movie. To be honest, the movie shouldn't even be called Batman vs Superman. The movie should have been called Batman and Wonder Woman, because they were the only two that actually made the movie. Because Superman was okay. Superman was just Superman from Man of Steel, probably a little bit more emo, I would say, in my opinion. And then not only that, we have
Spider-Man 3 dance territory.
And then not only that, you have Lex Luthor, who's another problem with the movie. It's not that I have a problem with Jesse Eisenberg, because he's a great actor. I just don't think they approached that character as well as they should have. They decided to, let's make Lex Luthor a cross between Riddler and Joker and see how it goes. And it just didn't.
I think it was a little too young, and it wasn't like, well, people said that it was typecast. It was that the role was written in a way that like had never been done, and it didn't really fit with the rest of the characters around him, and it was just irritating. But I think it's one of those things that it's like, you put it to rest. We'll wait for the next things to come out. And we'll see, like, if they improve on it, if they learn from it, and just seeing what they could possibly salvage.
They made a movie to tease. It was more of a movie, hey, this is what's going to come in the future. If you're going to do that, why make a movie? Just get to the point. This is compared to Civil War.
On top of that, the teasers could have been, like, more strategically, thoughtfully placed and thought out. Otherwise, it was just, Bruce Wayne has a computer file. He clicked on a bunch of different logos, and he found, like, secret footage of all these people that were around the world that were cool. It wasn't even, like, interesting. Like,
and
at
not
least
only that was one of the problems. That scene shouldn't have been in the movie. That scene could have easily been a after credit scene, and that would have made the movie so much better.
Not even
just with that edit.
It's just, they could have done what, the Avengers and Marvel does with their movies. They always add in new characters, but they don't have Captain on his computer, trying to figure out how Google Plus works. And he's over there saying, hey, look at this. I found footage of this guy who's really fast on the internet. Like, we should find him and utilize him. No, instead it's just like, these guys are brought in initially as villains. This guy is a guy that they made. This one is ones that came about to fight them originally and then unite with them. This one's one that, like, they found was an assassin, like Black Panther came in just because of their actions, and Bucky came out of nowhere because it was, this mission, and then they found that. It would have been more interesting in Batman vs Superman if, like, something was going on, and then, like,
someone appeared.
That he just, like, they appeared to help out. Like, they were searching in the ocean, and then this thing happened, and then, like, they find that there was another thing there. Instead, it's just kind of like, hey, I found a bunch of files. These people exist out there. Let's go find them, you know what I mean? I'm sure I could GPS Aquaman's crib. Just, Google Maps is a miracle.
It was more of a teaser to me. There was a lot of things.
It was like an after-credit scene in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. And there was a lot of things going on in the movie. It was hard to go ahead and pinpoint your best part because there wasn't really great parts except Batman parts.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much it.
The best part is when he just beats everybody
Exactly. That's pretty much it. And then the movie itself, again, it's good. I'm not trashing the movie. It's just, it could have been a lot better with a lot better editor and a solid storyline instead of just trying to connect 5 at the same time. Now, Civil War actually captured something that I just grabbed it from what you just said. There's something. If you remember what you just said in Batman vs Superman, you have Bruce Wayne has a file with all these people.
Yeah.
That let's go find them.
Wonder Woman.
In Civil War, what does Tony do when he finds Spider-Man? He has a file with all Spider-Man's web swinging action throughout New York. But not only he just let me just show these files. No, let me go to this guy's house,
Yeah.
see him, flirt with his fine ass aunt, and actually go up to him and be like,
That's my
"Hey, I know
favorite
you're
thing.
Spider-Man."
That's my favorite thing about that actress, Marissa Tomei. Wow, I just pulled that out of nowhere. I
I have
can't.
no idea.
That's my favorite thing about that actress. You watch any film with her, that's how she talks. She's in Anger Management with like Adam Sandler and
Mm-hmm.
like Jack Nicholson, and when she talks, it just sounds like she's flirting with you.
Yeah.
So in that film, it sounds like she's flirting with Tom Holland. I'm like, the boy's 15, leave him alone. But that's what I mean. He wasn't just like, hey, I've got these files, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he goes on the ruse and he shoots Captain Shield, and they're like, hey, guess what? We just picked up a spider guy.
Yep.
Who do you got? Giant Man. It was like out of nowhere, they were recruiting people, and then all of a sudden you just see Tom Holland, and then you see Aunt May, and then you see New York, and you're like, what? What's going on here? And then everyone just flipped out because you're like, oh my god, that's Spider-Man. And then it gradually paces into it.
Yeah.
But like, think about how long they've planned and done the Batman stuff, and all they came up with and all that was done was computer files. And then think of how quickly they made up just a simple 5-minute scene, and everybody was already like, Tom Holland for Spider-Man, They were already like, Tom Holland for president, just like out of the 5 minutes of screen time that he has. I'm like, I think that's I don't get what that is. How is it that something could be that simple and not take that long, and then something could they could be trying to do for 3 years, and then it still was sour. You know what I mean? It didn't really work.
Because there's one of the things that they did was that Civil War did not. How do I say it? Civil War, when they approached Spider-Man, they approached Spider-Man based on comics. If you go with Batman vs Superman, Wonder Woman was approached by the comics. Batman was slightly approached by the comics. Superman, no. Lex Luthor at all. So there was very very little amount of things that they were approached comic book wise. That's why Wonder Woman was such an impact. Like, not only there was a lot of people that say, okay, now I have a little bit more respect on Wonder Woman, but yeah, exactly, because she was as the closest thing that we were able to find in that movie to the comic books. That's why Spider-Man was so appealing when it came out.
That's what takes me off is like all these movies still think that they have to do a large origin, and at the end of the movie finally get to what it's supposed to be like. He's not bald Lex Luthor until the end of the movie. They have to have this whole thing running around, and then they think it has impact because he's bald at the end, but it doesn't. That's what I like about Black Panther. What happens? You see him from a little bit, and he's like, welcome to the what the heck is that? The Accords, Natasha Romanoff. Here is my father, another black guy with a ring that I will soon adopt. And I'm like, okay, cool, he's there. His father gets blown away, and then he's like, do not bother, I will kill him myself. And then bam, he jumps out of a rooftop, and he's right there. It doesn't have a montage scene where he's filing his claws and he's got nipples on his suit like Batman. It's just like, he's just there. When they find Tom Holland and then they bring him in, he's there. I find it crazy that it's like some of these superhero films and the things they do still need to go through all this stuff in order to just be like, he exists. You know what I mean? Why couldn't they have all these things already there on screen and just do them? Why can't Lex Luthor be the way he is, be bald, be all this? Why does he have to start like a Facebook mogul and then at the end of the movie be bald and then be angry? You know what I mean? And then do all this. Like, why do we have to have all this time? Because then it's like, great, it's at the end of the film, there's no more movie, now I have to wait 3 more years in order to see a little bit of the next thing. I'm like, I wanted to watch something now. Why can't we just go for it, you know?
This one of the things that I do respect about the Russo brothers, what they did with Civil War. They went in and they just went in. They were like, they went into the movie thinking this might be our only shot to make one of the greatest movies of all time. And they did their best.
Really did.
And
they
wanted
succeeded. To make The Empire Strikes Back,
which is funny how they mentioned that even in the movie.
Which is all these phases have been about, is trying to live up to these things. But they really did. They really wanted to fracture everything they had done and make that, usher in a new era of stuff that has been going on, because so many other superhero movies either failed, and so many have tried to have either multiple heroes or multiple villains, and they fall flat, and they wanted to make something that was like a freaking renaissance. And I think the key to doing that, and what was successful, was just introducing people without these big origin things, and just really just letting them just get into it, and then later they go and they churn over it, and they know
slightly.
That's what it's easy.
It's not only just later on giving you an origin story, but put the character there. We know the origin story from the comics. Yep. Why would you do an origin story if
not
they're actually going to do it? Again. But just slightly, not when you've had, just give us a little bit.
Not when you've had so many Spider-Man films before. Would you need to do it again? No, you already know Uncle Ben's not there in the house. He's not making rice and whatnot. Who the heck did they cast as Uncle Ben?
Good question.
If they got the hot aunt, who the heck's the uncle?
I wonder. Well, they never casted Uncle Ben, obviously, in that movie.
I mean, I guess they have.
But they probably do it for Homecoming. But now the thing is that if they were going to do an origin story, the best thing that you could do is to do what they did with Batman vs Superman, which the intro to the movie was the origin story to Batman that we've seen
like
a million times, super quick. That's exactly what they should do with
I guess Spider-Man. They could. I wasn't really the biggest fan of that. I was just kind of like, let's get to the movie. I've seen this before. They go to the Zorro show. They get out. She gets shot. There's pearls everywhere. It's nuts. But
I like that intro. I like that they took care of it.
It's a
right in
the
beginning.
But yeah, they tied their hands of it,
and that's what they should do. That's something that I can definitely say that Marvel should take from DC, and it's that intro to Batman vs Superman.
Yeah. I've always been the biggest fan of Captain America for a while, even from his first film, which people were like, I didn't like that one. And then Winter Soldier came out, and it opened everybody's eyes, and then said, like, man, Marvel means business. They're not just making fun popcorn films anymore. They're making things with, like, depth and soul to them, and they're making, like, espionage thrillers now. So when they announced Civil War, which is basically like an Avengers 3, it was like, man, this could be the biggest, the best, and the most, like, intense thing they have ever done. Yeah. And it really was a movie that should have been the second Avengers. It was what, Ultron should have been. Exactly. It was about, like, a fracturing of them, and it was about deeper storylines, and each of them were, like, having personal, like, things going on. It wasn't, just action scene to the next one, and it was sloppy. Like, everything had a point and a purpose, and Black Panther. That's all I care about at this point is Black Panther.
So true. See, the thing...
apparently Vision having to adopt Bill Cosby's lifestyle and just sit on the couch with Scarlet Witch making googly eyes, just like, what you want to eat tonight? And she's like, well, we could get pizza. And he's like, well, I can make your hometown dish. And she's like, you best open a can because that tastes nasty. Because an android don't know how to cook. It's just, thinking he's Emerald Lagasse.
It's just weird, to be honest, because, I mean, just what kind of review can we do about this movie? This movie was just great. It was just great.
It was one of those movies that, like, everybody knew it was going to be legit coming in, but there were things you pulled from it that were better than your expectation. The action was there. I thought it was a little interesting, spoiler wise, that Crossbones had blew himself up right away, but then again it was like, okay, they got bigger fish to fry. Captain was excellent. Every film that he does, he gets stronger, faster, more resilient. Like, he's always been my favorite. But I like this film because it was the first time I saw him as, like, a human. Because he's always a selfless guy. He's always the guy to put a bullet and jump on the grenade like he did in the first movie. But this is the first time I saw him have selfish ambition and fight against people just so he could have something that he wanted to obtain. And then be wrong in a way where he wasn't always Mr. Right. And he didn't always have, like, the high road. Yeah. And I thought that was such an interesting thing that you figured out that Captain America's flaw was that he couldn't step away from the fight. That if he went home to his little apartment in New York, he didn't know how to live with himself unless he was in danger, unless he was in a conflict and he was fighting. His dream and vision that Scarlet Witch gives him in Age of Ultron was that he was hanging out with Peggy at an RSO dance, chilling out, that the war was over. It was his nightmare. Thor's was literally the end of the world. Iron Man's was that everybody died. Bruce's was probably that, like, he, hurts everyone and that he's a monster and that he can't be good. Captain America's was just that he can go home and everything would be chill. And I'm like, that's such an interesting thing to finally see that, like, he has a flaw and that he wasn't perfect. He did the right stuff, but, I just thought, like, him overall, he was a beast. There was so many shots in this film where he got blown out a window, smacked across the face, hit the ground. I was in the theater and everybody was like, ooh, hit the ground. Because freaking, Crossbones just shoots him with, like, 3 grenade launchers. He ain't messing around. And he flies out a window, hits his head off a Honda Civic, and then hits the ground. And he just gets back up. And I'm just like, bravo. Yeah. Bravo.
Yeah,
But,
it's good. It was a great movie, and yes, you do have a point. I actually didn't even think about it that much because I was so blindfolded on having Black Panther and Spider-Man in just one movie that I completely
yeah,
forgot about
you
the
were
main
so excited
characters.
about that. But Black Panther was 90 times better than I thought he was going to be out of his costume.
Yeah.
When you first saw him, you were like, I don't know Chadwick Boseman. I never saw 42 where he played Jackie Robinson. I've never seen him anywhere. And then he was talking. I was like, accent? Okay, we can go South African.
Mm-hmm.
We can do whatever you want to do. But then, like, it was just he was like another fraction. Like he was the Captain America that was missing in this film.
Mm-hmm.
That he wasn't. That Captain this time was selfish. He was fighting for a friend, alienating other friends, and this was the first time that like he wasn't completely himself. And then I said, "Well, Black Panther is. He was neutral. He was,
Yeah, he was pretty
he
much
wasn't
neutral
in
when
the
it came
fight.
when it came to the game
Yeah,
to
to the
the
whole
teams.
Civil War itself. He
Because
wasn't even on
yeah,
Iron Man's team.
Exactly, he was just there because Winter Soldier wasn't Captain
Yeah.
America's team.
I mean, it was different because he was out for like vengeance.
Exactly.
But he ended up being my favorite part. And my favorite part of the film isn't like, him getting stabbed in the chest at the end with the shield or like anything crazy at the airport or even Giant Man, which I saw coming and I knew it would happen and it was delightful.
Mhm.
Paul Rudd definitely like was right to sign that
Yeah.
deal. My favorite part of the film is actually at the end where the Baron Zemo guy is talking about
Yes,
like
when
what
they're
he
talking.
did, and then the Black Panther describes how like everybody was absorbed in all of this vengeance and fighting each other, and that he was giving up, that whole quest for revenge, and that he wouldn't let it destroy him, that he would be the bigger man. I'm like, that was my favorite part of
Mhm.
the entire movie. And I was like, man, Black Panther kills it, son.
Yes.
I'm like, he's good because he's so dangerous. He's such a playboy guy. He's such a rich dude. He really gets in there. I'm like, but it was the fact that he was like the sole compass of the film, even more than like Vision was, even though Vision was dead right. That I was like, man, that's the kind of guy you gotta be. You gotta be as cool as Black Panther.
I like that.
Not achievable.
I like that. It was great concepts. It was very well approached. That M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end of the movie.
M. Night level twist.
It was insane, but it was an insane that you could, how do I say, it was a great twist. It was a crazy twist.
It was something that didn't kill it.
Exactly. It was something that you were like, oh, I cannot believe it.
At the end of the film, it was still something that could still work. Because Captain writes his letter to Tony, and he's just like, you know what? Like, that stunk. We were always going to be on opposite sides. We are opposite. We've had a lot of verbal fights. We've never agreed always, all the time. But you need me, and these people that are here, and the other half of the Avengers, basically, we're going to be there. So it wasn't like everything was lost. It wasn't like the most depressing ending. And it was one of those things that was just like, it left you completely satisfied that you just saw some stuff.
Yeah. My question is, if you caught on to this, because I didn't. When did Captain found out about Winter Soldier?
That's what I don't. Well,
or Winter Soldier killing the Starks.
That's what I don't.
Was it in between?
I figured it was with.
Or was it before he?
I think it's with Sam and his investigation. Because even during Ultron, like, Sam wasn't present and he was still looking at leads. I'm going to guess they eventually figured out, more of what the Winter Soldier did, more about Bucky's life. And then when he was, with S.H.I.E.L.D. before and had access to their files and he was, trying to figure out, like, more about the world that he missed and digging in deeper after, like, they were, Hydra and they went down. Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess that he found out at some point that, like, he realized.
Right after Winter
because
Soldier?
Howard was a friend of his. He really enjoyed Howard more than, like, Iron Man did his own father. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to guess he would, like, did research about him and Peggy so he could find them. And then he said, well, they're dead. How did they die? Peggy's still alive. I can go visit her. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to guess he did at some point. And, yeah, it was one of those selfish things where he spared his own pain instead of just telling Tony the truth and being better with it.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. Damn. You knew it was going to be good. It was a little bit better than you expected.
Man. It was a lot better than I expected.
Everything was on par. So it's like you really couldn't. If you complained and nitpicked with the film, then you were going too far.
Yeah.
You just kind of watched it and then you were just like, all right. You know? Yeah. Here's my question, though. If we were like celebrity picking, who are we going to pick to play Uncle Ben?
I have no idea because they casted a hot ass Aunt May, So
Who's
Uncle
that?
Ben has to be like Brad Pitt,
Here's
apparently. Because
not just Brad Pitt. We need to pick a specific Brad Pitt because we could have Brad Pitt, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or we could have Brad Pitt from like Troy.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like locks of like Goldilocks hair. Here's my next thing though. If we were gonna like, imagine if we were film producers in the 70s,
yeah,
and we shot appropriate films.
Okay.
And we could just pick whoever we want to do. Like all these things existed. Like Marvel began Phase 1 in like 1974, pre-Ferris Bueller,
okay.
or even in the 80s. Who the heck would we pick as the lineup for everybody? Using actors that we knew at the time.
I have no idea.
I think that like Iron Man is the most charismatic. He's the wisecracking, craziest one. So I honestly think we should pick Tom Cruise as Iron Man.
What?
Just because he would be insane, and I pictured Tom Cruise with like the goatee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you.
I don't know.
You got Top Gun, old Tom Cruise.
That is.
Before he fixed his teeth, Tom Cruise. That's the Tom Cruise I want to see. I want to see risky business Tom Cruise as Tony Stark.
Oh my god.
Because he'd be like, Tony Stark, you really that egocentric? And then he would just be like, show me the money. He's got all the money.
That is hilarious. To be honest, it's funny that you mentioned that because I know that he was being considered for a Marvel role. That never happened.
All the ones like the unfinished Nicolas Cage Superman with like Tim Burton.
No,
like that's what I'm saying. If we were gonna cast this thing, not even in the 70s, we could do anywhere 70s to the 90s. We could really go for it. Like I think Patrick Swayze should be in the film somewhere. Somewhere around the Roadhouse Dirty Dancing days, we're like, man, Patrick Swayze can get it. He needs to be an Avenger. Maybe he should have been like Hawkeye. You know, like a really beefy Hawkeye.
Oh my god!
And he didn't even use arrows; he just punched people.
Yeah,
like he was the least worthy Avenger,
yeah,
and he didn't have powers or anything. He just went around and he was just like lights out, bam.
You know, now that you mentioned Falcon, it's funny.
Oh, Falcon! Who are we gonna pick for Falcon? Did you
see?
Guy.
Parentheses, real quick. Did you see the meme they did with Falcon when SpiderMan kicked him?
No.
It said, I guess Clarence was kicked out back to 8 Mile. It was the funniest thing I've seen.
Wait, that's him in 8 Mile?
Yeah. Dear it was God, Clarence.
Man
it's like,
career.
And there was another one that it was Captain and Black Widow talking on the phone. That scene when they're talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And it says Black Widow's like, I have a secret to tell you. She's like, what is it? Falcon's real name is Clarence.
No lie, if this film was made like 10, 12 years ago, Falcon would have been played by Cuba Gooding Jr. and everybody knows it. And then Black Panther would have been like Denzel Washington, but it would have been like Malcolm X Denzel Washington, so he would have had like a real big agenda to it or something.
Oh my god. What about
Nick Fury would have been a white guy. They wouldn't have gone with the Ultimate Avengers, Samuel Jackson. It really would have been like David Hasselhoff.
What do you think about
Could you imagine if like Steve Carell played Captain America?
Oh my god.
Like,
Steve Carell as Winter Soldier.
They're like, Steve, you can't do that. It's too hard for you. And he'd be like, that's what she said. And then he'd just throw his shield and it would be in 3D. But it wouldn't be the new 3D. It'd be that shitty red and blue 3D. So, like, the whole time his costume was weird because it's, like, American flag. Mom, why are my eyes bleeding? Keep watching the film. I paid $4 for this. Pre-$12 tickets.
Oh, my God. Woo! What about John Travolta for Iron Man?
Well, because then we got to go through the old 80s stars. John Travolta for Iron Man?
Like, right after Grease. Right after Grease.
Right after Grease. So, like, Olivia Newton-John is just going to end up playing, like, what's the captain's girl? Pepper? Oh, my God. We need a natural redhead. But we're just going to pick Olivia Newton-John, and she's just going to work out in the bag. Wait, who did... Okay, so John Travolta. No, like, yeah, around the time where John Travolta was dancing. Because in any scene that he possibly can... he's gonna dance. He goes to put the Iron Man suit on, and he just like wiggles his way into it, and then he's just like, whoo.
He really doesn't need the machinery to put the suit on. It's just him dancing.
And then at the end, when he saves the day, he just starts like dancing. He pulls some Saturday Night Fever stuff.
Dancing.
Yeah, there's a scene, the whole scene in Iron Man 2, just it called for that. He's dying, and he's got the disco ball, and John Favreau's like, "What are you doing up there?" And then he's like, "I don't care. I just peed in the suit." That could have been John Travolta. The movie would have been 90 times better. Oh, then you got to get your 80s actors. So Dolph Lundgren's got to be there. Sylvester Stallone. Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to play a villain.
Sylvester Stallone.
Who the heck would play like Loki?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wait.
Have Arnold.
Play who? He got it. Oh, he would be Thor. Oh my god! Like mid Conan, he would be Thor too. But he'd wear the helmet though. Like they'd go the extra mile. He'd wear the helmet and be like, "You are not worthy to pick up this hammer." And then Tom Cruise would be like, "Forget you, man." Forget you. Because then Tom Cruise would do all his own stunts. Because this is obviously going to be like pre-CGI and all that. So Tom Cruise would be like, "Yeah, I'll run across this building, jump onto another one, and then jump straight into a fire." And then like, yeah, there would just be like Arnold Schwarzenegger there, just like whipping a hammer. Just twirling it around like the traitor guy from Force Awakens. Just like throw the hammer.
Sylvester Stallone as the Hulk.
Oh my god.
Bruce Banner.
But they needed to make him talk as the Hulk. But like in the way that Sylvester always does. Iron Man!
Hulk smash. I don't know.
I don't know. Can you Hulk? He'd do the hammer at me and I couldn't pick it up.
What are you talking about? What?
Oh my god, I just thought of the perfect thing. Is there a short guy in any of these Marvel movies that's a villain?
Spidey. Oh no.
Oh my god, can you imagine if Danny DeVito plays SpiderMan? Danny, like, I'm talking like, not Sunny in Philadelphia Danny DeVito, because he just went off the deep end. Like, they signed him onto that show and he just said, like, "Can I do whatever I want?" "Yeah, it's in the clause." I'm talking like Matilda Danny DeVito,
like
right after he paid, like, he took the prosthetics off and then he went right onto the Civil War set. He was just a penguin. They're like, "You still got your flippers on, Danny." He goes, "Oh, fucking, I'm sorry about that." Yeah, he would play Spider-Man. He'd be like, "Underoos," and he'd be like squatting in. Like he just like walks in.
Rolls.
Yeah,
he rolls onto set instead of swinging. He's like,
he's like, "Danny DeVito, are you ready?"
The web doesn't kind of like attach to me. For some reason, it just breaks in the middle of the swing. I don't know why.
Danny, you still got your flippers on. He's like,
like SpongeBob on the way.
Come on to the set as Spider-Man. The costume doesn't really fit it. It rides up in the crotch.
Oh my god. Just for that, it's going rated R. Just
for that, the extended cut of Civil War with Danny DeVito as Spider-Man. Oh my god!
It makes Civil War sound nastier than Deadpool. It's so bad.
It really does, though. I'm telling you, you'd have a field day with this. You had to have Clint Eastwood in there somewhere, like Uncle Dirty Ben. Harry Clint. Uncle Ben as Clint Eastwood. Can you imagine the pep talk he'd have with Peter? With Peter, he would just have like a 9mm on the table, and he would just be like, "Great power comes big ass firepower."
Just full of Spectre moment with fucking James Bond. It's like James Bond, and it's Clint Eastwood, and then it's let's leave Tom Holland in the mix as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he puts the gun in it. It's like, with great power comes great responsibility. He leaves the gun on the table and just walks away. It's like, you know what to do.
And then it's a Hail Hydra plot twist, because then Spider-Man picks up the gun and kills Uncle Ben.
Hail Hydra, and then Captain America appears out of nowhere from the background.
Just taps his shoulder like, "Well done." Thanks Patrick Swayze.